Hello, all. Today we are reviewing the Aspects book for Exalted the Dragon-Blooded. There are 5 books total, printed between 2003 to 2005. They are Air, Earth, Fire, Water, and Wood. The themes for this game are politics and warfare in a mythic age and place. As you can see, that's the air, that's the earth. The reason why I'm doing the review like this today is because so much of the content is so similar, obviously. So it's very synchronistic. That's a good thing. So we're going to start with the first one, and you can see the numbers on the back. See the first aspect book. All right. And then eventually Wood is, the final aspect book. And they are in alphabetical order. So A, E, F, W, A, W, O. All right. So this video is going to run a little longer. And Exalted, the Aspects books really remind me of X-Men, Magic the Gathering, Planeswalkers from Magic the Gathering, Asian soap operas, and Avatar The Last Airbender. I've only watched a couple Asian soap operas, but there is definitely a strong connection here. So my biggest complaint is that Exalted and White Wolf specifically ask a lot of players and game masters. They want you to read a lot. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't have all of the time in my world to dip my head into something I'm unsure of, and this really pushes a lot of new players away. However, that being said, my highest praise for this is the fact that there is a lot of great lore. It's fantastic and seemingly original. Surprisingly, given the source materials. So, I mean, there's just, once again, it's White Wolf, so you kind of know what to expect. Some art is very well done, and then some is very poor. I don't know. It's almost 50-50 with this series, I would say, but I mean, it's got a lot of really great moments in it. What the heck is that? Right? I mean, it's thematic, but not enjoyable art, really. And then here you have something thematic and enjoyable. Each of these books goes over, 5 characters' histories and backstories, which, look at that art. It's just kind of awful. So much of it is just simple lines, and some of it has depth and shadow to it. I mean, for essentially all black and white, except for the cover art, there's some goriness. It covers a lot of emotional swing. Only dedicated people are going to play this game. You are not going to run an Exalted game where you find a lot of stuff. This first book, for instance, it only contains about 14 pages worth of game content that players can use for powers, abilities, and equipment. And that it's kind of a problem, because you have to spend so much time reading everything, and the formatting isn't that great. But wow, when they get to doing something like the character art is wonderful. And so I'm just kind of flipping through it. This is going to be longer than I would like to. The hidden gems are the item descriptions and lore behind them, which are honestly good for any fantasy. Look at that. That is wonderful art, and you've seen some terrible art already in the other book. And so I'm expecting this to go on for a bit. But like, there's a lot of themes and how people feel, which is one of the things that reminds me of the X-Men. Honestly, you might only play this once. Oh, there's good art in this one, and then you have this, which is different. Each of these books really has a sensation to it, and it depends on what sort of characters you want, and to really go in depth on every single one would do a disservice, honestly, to your time, because so much of it is just almost repeat. Like, how many times do you have to read about one character and their likes and their dislikes, how they were raised? I mean, I don't feel this piece of art was necessary. Yeah, cool ideas, but, let's move on to the next one. I don't want to waste your time. By far, the Fire book is my favorite, and I'm one of those people that hates the main character of, like, for instance, a JRPG like Legend of Dragoon always being a fire type. I love Chrono Trigger, by the way, but I really hate time travel. It's awkward. So, this is the most Dragon Ball Z-ish effect, I would say, out of anything. But total X-Men and Avatar. It's so good at times. And honestly, even if you're just looking at the abilities to see what you would rather simulate when you're trying to play a game that just has a better flow, you can easily use the content in a transitional period, because nobody plays this that I know. Like, I've never really seen a dedicated following to this, even though I know it's out there. I absolutely know it's out there because they want to be getting the Kickstarter backers for more. And, maybe there's just some hopeful people out there. But honestly, it's far too expensive for the time investment asked of any individual to get into this, let alone a group of people. There's so much reading, and the format is not exactly done in such a way that you can access the content you want, without purchasing the rest of the stuff that just comes with it. Yeah, and I like these books, don't get me wrong. I'm keeping them for the lore so I can reimagine it for some other stuff. I'm not interested in playing a game in which I have to know the absolute historical precedence for everything in the world. I mean, come on. Each of these books was $20, right? That's $100 for source material. And when you're providing me less than 20 pages for every less than 100, like, let's see. Yep, 96 pages there. When less than 20% of the book is actual content you can use for your game, and you're starting off with 5 pages of a story before you even see the table of contents, whoever's running Modern Vampire or whatever, please, like, I get that you want me to be invested in the world that you created. But honestly, part of being a game master, part of being a storyteller, a chronicler, anything, is choosing what type of story you want to tell. And if I have to buy a new book every time I want to tell a different story because your lore tells me what I can or can't expect, I mean, why else am I buying this? There's a lot of content in here that, more prude people would find slightly risque or racy, because there's not as much of a filter or child-proofing due to the advanced level of entrance. You can't have that. And eat it too. The lore is great. There's powerful imagery. And then you have some really, really horrible fates for children that are eaten by giant spiders, apparently. I just want to show you what you would be getting into. All of these books follow the same sort of format. I do plan on reviewing more White Wolf content, but know that a lot of it is very similar. And if you are interested in what you read on the back, then these books might be for you. Sorry, I hardly ever open these books, and they curl in on me. And the reason why I hardly ever open them is because there's a quicker way to access material, especially nowadays. Very little of this book will you use. I mean, look at that imagery. Gorgeous art, and then, ooh, wow, people can be lazy, Just, why do I want to know about an NPC's romantic life and all this? Like, I get that it's up to the GM or the storyteller to decide what's included in the game. But I feel that a lot of the source books are not worth the time or money because it's more of the same. And if you don't get a good deal on it, don't buy it. Personally, if I had to go back in time, I wouldn't spend more than $5 to $10 on each individual book of this. That being said, the lore is wonderful. I only recommend it for people that are looking into it to get the content they want. There are absolutely beautiful works of art. And some very interesting stories to tell. But once again, I'm only keeping these because of the lore, and that's rare for me. And what do I mean by the lore? I mean the item descriptions, the way it describes where you might find certain things, and that is one thing White Wolf has done absolutely well. Do I think I'll ever play this? No. I have a life, and not to say that if you play this, you don't, but I'm generally far too busy to have to read all of this just to get an insight as to who my character might be. I have my own imagination. I don't need these guys to tell me what is possible in a fantasy world that me and friends would like to enjoy together. And unfortunately, that is the bulk of this. Somebody thinking that they are so intelligent that you can't come up with this stuff. If I knew it when I bought it, I would not have bought it. At least at that price. Like $100 for less than 500 pages. And, because it is lore, 100% lore in this series, page count matters. It does. But at the same time, accessibility, being able to look at stuff at a glance, and knowing whether or not you are going to use it matters. Let me just read off my favorite book, Aspect Book Fire, the back. The Scarlet Offspring of Hishish, socialites and military-style fighters without peer. The aspects of fire are the shimmering embers of the dragon-blooded host. Yet these visionaries do far more than make love in war. With their incredible battle skills and their vibrant personalities, the children of Hishish are the beating heart of the dragon-blooded society and the driving impulse of its people. The Thousand Tongues of Flame. Aspect Book Fire is the third aspect book for Exalted. Books detailing the different aspects of the terrestrial Exalted. Within it lie the stories of 5 members of the aspect, from those who have just graduated secondary school to the mighty Kathak Kanan himself. This book also contains the new magical powers, rules, and artifacts that fire aspect characters will need to claim their role among their people as advocates and master swordsmen. Alright, and that's pretty much the bulk of the content. It really does go over the entire life of characters. Alright, thank you for viewing, and have a good day.